Fine.
There you go.
What the fuck is this? Oh, my meeting is being recorded by host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send in a thing, I guess. Should we be sponsored by Mountain Dew? You think we'll get some free product?
Hell no, we won't get any free product from them.
I would love free Mountain Dew.
So
But
would I.
do you
Uh,
drink Mountain Dew?
I'll drink it occasionally.
Oh.
I don't know. My favorite soda is usually Coke or sometimes Dr. Pepper or vanilla Coke was my go-to. Like when I was younger, like vanilla Coke was just so good for me. Or not good for me, but like I love
Yeah,
vanilla
it's
Coke.
like it's always hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Some
um, but yeah, no, vanilla Coke was my go-to for sure. Did you have a go-to one or is Mountain Dew your go-to?
it's probably Mountain Dew. I mean I liked orange soda, grape soda, and I'd actually combine those. That's my O-Rape soda.
Oh God. Um, but oh my God, you got me thrown off there. But no, that orange soda's good. I like whenever like you're at a party or like well, really kids party because usually there's soda around, but orange soda is the go-to. I always get grab. I have to get a couple of orange soda because orange soda is delicious.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we'll use that as our soft intro. Welcome to episode 78 of Dimes on Duval. This is a little bit change of pace as Keith is feeling a little under the weather, and we are doing a remote episode. I'm joined here by Skyler Chase. What's up, Skyler?
How's it going? How are you?
I'm good, man. Just preparing for the storm.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
supposed to be coming tomorrow, maybe to Jacksonville at least.
Well, I was at work today and it's pretty scary with the wind there, but I mean it's always entertaining. It's nothing we haven't seen before. I don't There's gonna be a lot of wind and some rain, but yeah, like the doors just whistles, you get it almost flaps open every now and then.
Yeah,
It's not
like today I was driving yesterday and today, last night and this afternoon I was driving, like you can feel the wind like move your car a little bit, but not too much. But like it's not the first time we've dealt with this, but
yeah.
uh definitely hopefully everyone stays safe with the hurricane that's coming. And I know a lot of flights are gonna be canceled. I for one am hoping my flight Friday does not get canceled. But we will see what happens.
I would think it'd be good, but
I'm I'm
never know.
hoping exactly. I'm hoping so because I've seen that schools are getting canceled for tomorrow, or today, Thursday, when you start listening to this. Friday, everyone should be going back. So if that's a good sign, if schools are going back, I'm assuming flights are able to happen. So
Yeah, I'm actually having to cover one of my coworkers because his daughter's school is closed, so I'll be there in the morning at Coastal during the worst part, I guess. But uh, yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
yeah,
It's gonna be kind of cool to see some of this stuff, but
yeah. Hopefully everyone stays safe with Hurricane Nicole, and hopefully by the time it comes to us, it'll be a tropical depression, Nicole. But we'll see. Uh, let's go right into it. We're not going to go into the Sunshine State Roundup due to the fact that when this gets dropped, it is going to be a Thursday night or Thursday morning, and it's more so like previews for the next week instead of reviewing the previous week. So we're not going to get into that. We'll save that for next week. But I do want to start off with you, Skyler. We've been starting with the Gators pretty often, so we'll just go right into it. Florida does take down Texas A&M this past Saturday. Just a
yeah.
quick note on the game before we go ahead and preview maybe the South Carolina game this upcoming Saturday. But what were your thoughts on the Gators going into College Station and handing Jimbo Fisher yet another L? What were your thoughts on the game?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably their best game overall as a team. Defense didn't have like anything crazy. It was back and forth in the first half, and then pulled away in the second half. And Anthony Richardson, he looked pretty good. He made some great plays with his feet and with his arms. So that's always
Guys,
great.
yeah, I see
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson had four touchdowns, two throwing and two rushing. So that definitely is a helpful thing, especially I saw that Texas A&M had the
Good.
flu that pretty much impacted their entire team.
Yeah, it's a good fantasy game for him. But yeah, I mean overall I thought it was their best game played. Um I'll bump up my grade for Billy Napier in this season to a C plus. Now after that, I thought, uh, that was just what I wanted to see was a solid football match. Where it's like it didn't necessarily all come together. We didn't like blow them out of the water, but it was competent football. We weren't making huge mental errors on either side. Like so, it was good. They just enjoyed it. They had fun. You could tell they were having a blast playing football instead of other games where they're just miserable trying to make something out of the day.
Yeah,
So
I felt like maybe this past weekend they were definitely more focused, granted against a depleted Texas A&M team, but I mean they got the job done. They did what they had to do and go from there.
and then who did Florida State play this past weekend?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that.
My
They played Miami. Well, they might as well play no one because no one showed up as the Hurricanes got trounced 45-3. And it
all we
was
I
huh?
was just gonna say all we can hope for is the same impact from the Hurricanes this week.
Exactly.
Nicole,
Exactly. That game was so I was in North Carolina this past weekend, so I didn't get to catch much of the game.
you
Um,
evacuated the Hurricane. I see.
I mean, oh well, but I saw there have been jokes going around um on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram that I've seen, and I want to tell me what you think. In a shocking move in college football, Florida State head coach Mike Norvell has resigned to accept a position with the Miami-Dade Emergency Management Agency. Officials said that they had to have him once they realized that he could evacuate 65,000 Miami residents from one location under 3 hours. Dude, that game. So I was saying, I was in North Carolina this past weekend for one of my best friend's weddings, and we had to go try to see a sports bar, just see what like some of the game.
Yeah.
Now, I had my phone on. We had the rehearsal dinner Saturday. I had my phone on. I noticed it was 7-0, like snap of a finger pretty quickly. Then we held them to 3. Great. Then it got to 14-3. And I'm like, okay, you know what? This is going to be a slaughter. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse for Miami. And it was just absolutely wonderful to see. Um, Jordan Travis played well, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm sure he had one pick, but Trey Benson is the MVP of this Seminoles offense. And arguably, Jamie Robinson has had a great impact on defense. Now, there was one play where I saw that he pretty much just threw the Miami quarterback to the ground. And that play is going to be played in the rivalry highlights for a long time. So I'm just glad Miami got their asses handed to them. And it was, like I said in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, Doak South was definitely more more FSU friendly, as it always is. Miami fans are a joke. Enjoy the mediocrity with Mario Cristobal. You guys are going to fire him in about 2 years. So, yeah, I feel no pity for Miami. Absolutely
I
no pity.
I feel a little pity. It was only because it's like their athletic director and like the people who are in charge seem like they don't give a crap about the football and sports in general. It's just weird.
I mean, they do. The NIL people do. But the
I
thing is,
mean,
the players stink. Oh, they don't stink. They have more talent, actually, ironically, than Florida State. 24/7 has I want to see if I can find it real quick. Has a talent index where the they usually rank teams in terms of talent and whatnot. And yeah, I just found it. So it is a talent thing based in the ACC. So they separate by conference or by the whole NCAA. Number one
mm,
in the ACC is Clemson. Number 2 is Miami. Number 3 is North Carolina. Number 4 is Florida State. And the number 4 team in the ACC just absolutely put the handles on the number 2 team in the ACC. I am so glad Miami got their ass handed to them this past Saturday.
were you? I mean, you weren't nervous at all. I don't. I mean, we
No, no,
have
no,
a live
no. I
podcast.
said this last week. I said it the week
Yeah.
before. I was very confident in the game. I had no worry whatsoever about the Hurricanes. Like I told you guys a few weeks ago when we were recording about the future prediction for the Knolls, I expected 4-1. I would be happy with 3-2. I would be expecting 4-1. Now my expectation is still 4-1, but I really do believe that we will go 5-0. I think we will beat Syracuse this upcoming weekend. As we'll just lead right into the previews for the next games for each of our teams. Florida State goes on the road to Syracuse, to New York, and will be on the ACC network at 8 p.m. I do believe Florida State is favored in this game. I do think Florida State will win the game. Now I'm checking the spread real quick. Florida State is favored by 7. I do think Florida State will win the game and pretty comfortably, especially if the Syracuse quarterback does not play. Schrader. I can't remember his first name, but if he does not play, I do expect Florida State to take care of business and have no issue. Garrett Schrader. I don't see Florida State struggling with Syracuse. They're not a team like they were under Willie Taggart. They are a focused team. They are a team determined to prove everyone wrong. And I do believe that Florida State will handle business in New York and then head back home to handle Louisiana the week after. And then eventually we'll play the Gators. But I don't think Florida State keeps it close to Syracuse. I think they blow them out. And yeah, I'm very confident in that.
Blowouts,
Huh?
back-to-back blowouts.
Yes. Now, the only thing I can see where Florida State will struggle is because they've not been in a position like this, especially after handing a arch rival a embarrassing loss. I just hope they stay focused, and if they are focused, I don't see them losing.
All right. Well, I think Syracuse had some success earlier in the season, kind of. I mean, everyone's watching them against Clemson, because they're normally used to handling the Orange Rock really well, not the brown one. But talking basketball, but so I mean, I think it'll be a closer game, but I mean, I still think probably Florida State ends up winning for sure, maybe by 2 touchdowns, which I wouldn't consider a blowout, but it's a pretty strong win.
Yeah, I think anything over 8 point, anything over one possession is a blowout. I don't care, but if you cover the spread, you are looking good. So I that's coming from the better. So I'm not sure, but I think Florida State will take care of business. Again, this is if Garrett Schrader does not play. I think Trey Benson will have another game, another hell of a game. Jordan Travis will not be used as much. The key to winning this game is running the ball down Syracuse's throats and just don't let Garrett Schrader hit the field if he is playing. Keep him off the field. Trey Benson, Toafili, let him run wild. Go ahead. Trayshawn Ward may be coming back. We don't know if he's coming back this week. We'll see. But I do think that Florida State will take care of business. Now, staying or not staying, going to the Gators. They do host South Carolina this upcoming weekend. And it's a little bit of a revenge factor for the Gators. They did lose to South Carolina last year. And this game, if Florida does win, they do clinch a bowl game. Now, or a bowl, they're eligible for a bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if they lose this game, they should have it next week. I'm not really concerned about that. But how important is it that the Gators get a win against a division rival? I believe South Carolina's a division rival, right?
Yeah, they're in the SEC East. I think it's just as big as beating Texas A&M, but it's bigger because they're in East. I mean, we have no chance of representing the East this year, but it's a team we're going to face again next year. Texas A&M. I was just happy with how well they played, and I think they'll carry that same momentum into South Carolina. Whereas if they had struggled versus Texas A&M, I think they would have struggled versus South Carolina. But I'm more confident in their abilities this week. South Carolina does give us the fits, but you said we're going up to South Carolina for that game?
No, it's
right?
It's in Gainesville.
Okay.
Last year
Well,
was in South Carolina.
okay. So yeah, I mean, coming down to the swamp, it should be a little better for us. I think fans are going to be a little bit less timid about the team, after the result last week. So coming out to versus South Carolina SEC matchup, it should be a good group of fans there at the game, and I think it's going to be a fun matchup. I think it'll be a really good game. Nothing like if the Gators play just as well as they did this past week, I think South Carolina will match the effort and the skill, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty well balanced, and hopefully Gators come out on top. But like you said, if they lose, they have Vanderbilt next week. You didn't mention it was Vanderbilt, but that's the team that we're playing. So it will probably still get the bowl berth. Yeah, get our 6th win. But I would like for it to be over South Carolina, because then I would think we'd beat Vanderbilt, and that would be a big rolling ball coming into. It's in Tallahassee this year, right? So that would be good to have that momentum coming against Florida State, and that would just make that rivalry and season climax even more climactical, so to
Yeah,
speak.
no, that would be if Florida State and Florida can go into that rivalry game on a winning streak, that would be for both teams, that would be very good, and it would be very exciting to see as a Knoll and also as a rival for the Gators as well. So
Yeah, because I think earlier in the season, I mean, Florida State had really high hopes based on their really good start, and they're still a really good team. But I think the thought was maybe Florida State would be a lot better than Florida at the end of the season.
they
Um,
are.
but now I think we'll have a more balanced matchup. I think the teams are more balanced. I mean, we beat y'all last year, right? So I mean, guys,
Yeah, but that I don't.
yeah,
Last year was
but
awful.
that was with Dan Mullen.
That
All
wasn't
right,
Dimon was
great.
fired. He
So
was
I
fired
just mean
before.
like that was his team, though. Essentially, is that
And
they rallied. I guess since he was gone, they were able to rally. But I mean, last year was awful, and for us to beat Florida State was okay for us. But yeah, I mean, it would just be 10 times better if both teams could just roll into Tallahassee, rocking, and you know, and then the Gators beat them there. That would just be awesome.
yeah, we'll see about that. But we don't want to look too far ahead. Our focus is each Gators are on South Carolina and the Knolls are on the orange of Syracuse. Now,
Yeah, we gotta focus on the other Cox first.
so Skyler, quick question. Do you know the
What's that?
last time when was the last time Syracuse, I'm sorry, South Carolina went into Gainesville and won?
I was probably at that game. Was it Spurrier's last game as a Gamecock?
I don't know who the coach was, but I can tell you the date. It was in 2014, November 15th, 2014. Now let me see if I can pull up
And
the
that
exact.
might have been like one of Muschamp's last game. Um, we were if it was that same year, Florida was up in the fourth quarter, I think, and then South Carolina scored some points to force overtime, and we lost in overtime, and it
Let me
was a dreadful.
I will tell you right now. So it
Sure.
was the final game for Steve Spurrier at South Carolina. You were correct. And Will Muschamp was the head coach of the Florida Gators at the time,
I was there.
23-20. Yeah, they
It
won
was
it.
awful.
It was overtime too. I didn't realize it was overtime.
It was awful. I was there, and I just oh man, I bad times as a Gator fan. Like I even have been to the swamp to watch them lose to Vanderbilt when Ahmad Fullwood caught a touchdown. You're
Oh
a
gosh.
classmate. So uh yeah, I mean it's just I remember that day. I remember I was just reading about that game not too long ago and realizing that I got to see Spurrier's last game in the swamp, and that was pretty special, I guess, in that sense. I don't remember much except for being disappointed and everyone's just mad at everyone, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But yeah, hopefully everyone ends up with a better result this weekend. And like I said earlier, we can keep the hot streak going for the Gators and the Knolls. Going from a hot streak to a cold streak that was just snapped. The Jaguars, they beat the Las Vegas Raiders 27. I'm sorry, 27-20. Skyler,
Yep. Yes.
when we were down 17-0, what were your thoughts? So, just a full warning, I didn't watch much of the game. I watched a few plays and I had, like I said, I had a wedding in North Carolina. So, we were watching Red Zone. So, there were times where I was like, what the hell is happening? I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then I come and find out right before the wedding starts, the Jaguars won. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure that out later. So I'm
Yeah.
asking you, when we were down 17-0, what were your thoughts? Because I'll tell you right now, after I saw Devontae Adams score the second touchdown, I literally said, oh, this game's over. We are gonna get absolutely embarrassed. Devontae's gonna set an NFL record. Yeah, I was not thrilled when I found out we were down 17-0. So what were your thoughts? You were at the game, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Correct. I was there with one of Keith's. I guess it was. I don't know if they're roommates or but just college buddies,
Mhm.
right? Chance Little, um, gave me a ticket, so I went with him. Really appreciative of that. I got to watch there, and his buddy Ian was actually a Raiders fan, so we just went back and forth talking about how, oh, you're playing the Jaguars, so you guys are probably gonna win. And he's like, no, y'all are playing the Raiders, y'all are gonna probably win. And so we went back and forth with that. Uh, when they went up 17-0 and Devontae had two touchdowns, I was just thinking, man, we're gonna watch a really historic day from Devontae Adams. And I didn't necessarily think we were gonna lose at that point still because it was really early, and I'm a glass too full type of person. I'm always spilling all over the place. So I still optimistic, but I actually ended up running to one of my old roommates from Gainesville, and he's a Raiders fan. Him and his dad were there, and again, I just kept reiterating. I was like, "You guys are probably going to come out with it. I mean, we're going to probably come back at some point, but blow it. That's just been the story of the season." So those were my overall thoughts. I thought we were going to make it close, but not win still. Um, but when they went up and
Yeah, go into what you're like what did you think happened like at halftime? Because obviously we were down 17-0. There was 11 minutes left in the half, I believe.
yeah,
And I'm
well,
like, oh, here we go. And then the Jags quickly scored a touchdown with Travis
I think
Etienne.
yeah, well, I think you gotta go back to the end of the first half, where they got the ball back with 55 seconds
Yes,
left.
that's what I was gonna say. We quickly scored, and then the Raiders got the ball back with under a minute. What happened in that minute? Because I see two scores. Granted, they're both field goals, but they both happen within a minute of each other.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the Raiders did. I just remember the I was watching. I rewatched the game, but I still can't remember exactly. I just know I think they were probably tried to pass and it was incomplete or something. But it was like 3rd and 3, and Doug Peterson called the timeout. We stopped them on 3rd and 3, and then they ended up going for the field goal. The Raiders did, and then we got the ball back on a kickoff. I think the drive started around the 25. I think it was just a touchback. And we got into field goal range pretty quickly. Trevor had one of his good runs there at the end of the first half where a Raider tried to punch it, whiffed kind of, didn't really make much of a good effort at wrapping up, and Trevor was able to get an additional 10 or so yards after that contact. And at that point, we were close to field goal range. We were right on the edge of Patterson's range. And then we had, I think, we advanced the ball another 10 yards, I believe, and then it was like 16 seconds left. People were thinking they might go for the end zone, but they ended up doing like a 10-yard slant just to get to the middle of the field, use their final timeout, and then Patterson kicked it, knowing that we were going to get the ball to start the second half. And then I was in the bathroom the second half. I just hear the announcer. You don't hear anything really. You hear a slight roar. And in my head, I actually thought that we fumbled the ball and it was Raider fans at the stadium.
Yeah, was
Um,
it except from what I saw? Like obviously, I saw after the fact. I saw a lot of pictures and stuff. Was it heavy Raider base? Like, was it as much as Did you go to the Giants game?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't as much as the Giants. I think there's more New Yorkers in Florida than there are Raider fans
Yeah.
in Florida. They're still pretty heavy because they're a pretty heavy fan base. But I would say, it's just more so like it was about 50-50 still, I would
Okay.
think. It's because it was hard to tell whether the Black Jaguars memorabilia was Raiders or not. That's where I think Jaguars do bad about merchandise. It's like teal's our
Yeah.
color. We look too much like Raiders in some
Yeah.
aspect.
And
Um,
going back to when they dropped those black uniforms, they look too much like the Raiders. The black
and
and
then,
the
but
white and the white on the white of the black numbers are very similar to the Raiders.
yeah, those looked exactly like the Raiders road uniforms, minus the
Mhm.
Raiders don't have black cuffs. So really, in some aspects, it was hard to tell for that reason. But like a typical Jaguar game, people show up to Jacksonville. It's their only vacation in Florida, you know. So there's still a decent amount of Raider fans. Like I said, my buddy that I was roommates with in Gainesville, he's from Florida, but him and his dad are Raider fans. They're both there. Chance friend, he was Raider fan. They're from Atlanta, so you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's just the fandom of the team.
Yeah.
Oakland, Vegas, LA fan base. They've been to 3 cities now at this point. So
Yeah. So just to go back to the game real quick. So we
sure,
were going at halftime, 20-10.
yeah.
I see that.
I was in
What
the
do,
urinal at halftime. Yeah,
what do you
hear that
think
roar.
what do you think happened like just like the halftime, how we completely blanked them in the second half and just Trevor looked like Trevor Lawrence from college. Like he looked I saw some plays like I said. I rewatched some of the game over the last 2 days, 3 days. What do you think happened in the second half? Like, was it Doug? Was there, do you think any adjustments were made? Shut down Devontae Adams? Was it the Raiders just sucking? Just a quick thought before, because I know recaps are or reviews are pretty much done for. We got to
Yeah.
preview the Chiefs, but like, what do you think was the main reason for the win?
I mean, I think they just stuck with what they know and what they do well. I don't like coming off of last week in London. I didn't. People were still talking bad about Trevor and his performance, and I mean, he made some mistakes, some mental errors, sure, but in my mind, it was the best defense in the league this year. And sure, that interception on the goal line shouldn't have happened, but
You're talking
the
about the Broncos game.
yeah, correct. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, going back, kind of like, but for them to counter their mistakes from that game and this game, I don't think they did much different. But like, just looking at it, it's like on that first and goal situation, they passed it, and that should have never happened. Coming to this week, they ran the ball a lot more around the goal line. They ran it with ETN. They didn't try to get cute with it. So they stuck with what they do well. They didn't try to get too cute. You know, ETN's a star. Have to
So
let him
I'm glad
shine.
I'm
So
glad you mentioned ETN. So Demetrius Harvey sent out a tweet. What was it on Sunday? It looks like Jaguars running back Travis Etienne has had 100 plus yards from scrimmage in each of the last 5 games. Week 5, 114. Week 6, 108. Week 7, 119. Week 8, 162. Week 9, 126. And Trevor Lawrence, just a few stats. John Shipley said that he completed the game with about 80% passing, 25 of 31. And granted, one of those incompletions was a spike to stop the clock. So
and
Trevor, and
I
also,
shared that. Yeah, did you see that stat I shared this rap?
yes, I was just about to get to
Had
that.
yep. Okay, go
Yep,
for it.
yeah. So Trevor Lawrence had 3 games this season where he's completed 80% of his passes. That is the most in the NFL. So Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well. At least I think in this game, and he's not been as bad as people think. He's a very good quarterback, and he will make things work. So, I am very confident in that, and I do believe that he'll be fine going forward. Now, going forward, we do play the Kansas City Chiefs. We go to Kansas City this Sunday. It is a 1 p.m. kickoff with Jim Nance and Tony Romo on the call. We have the
Nice.
A team. We're gonna have it's two of the young quarterbacks in the league, two of the youngest quarterbacks in the league. Jaguars, Chiefs, Lawrence, Mahomes. Let's see what we got.
I
So
think the
Skyler,
worst. Yeah, I was just gonna say the worst part about that game is gonna be Tony Romo the whole time.
I'm okay with Romo,
Dude,
but
that's. But I'm not.
yeah, but
He's just too animated. I don't know.
fair enough. But so just quickly, or
Hmm.
just a few minutes on the game. Give me one key that potentially could have the Jaguars upset the Chiefs.
One key. I mean, I would just say
If
one
you,
key.
I'll say what I
Is
need to say. Yeah, I'll go
ET.
first. You
Okay, go
say,
for it.
oh, you said
I
ETN.
yeah, like
Go ahead.
ETN because he's still fairly unknown, in the NFL. And he's explosive. I think more so to be specific, ETN in the pass game. I think they need to maybe get him on some wheel routes or something. Just get him going, get the ball in his hands, and let's see how that goes. Because we haven't really seen too much in that aspect. I would like to see it become a heavy focus, just so that way, they haven't focused that much on it. They focus on running and then other pass plays and stuff. Maybe they focus on Evan Ingram at some points, but I think developing a pass game with your running back would be the key to this game.
Okay, so I'm going on the other side of the ball. So Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen at getting rid of the ball quick. We saw what Matt Ryan did a few weeks ago against the Jaguars when we were playing the Colts. Matt Ryan got rid of it quick. Jaguars got torched. So I think the way the Jaguars win is if they can get to Mahomes as quickly as they can. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, Dewan Smoot, Robertson Harris, Arden Key, those front four, but I'm going to extend it to the front seven. Foya Luakan. You got also Devin Lloyd. These guys need to make an impact and force Mahomes into some uncomfortable throws. If you do that, you have a very good shot at beating the Chiefs. And for that, I don't know. And also somehow we need to stop the left cornerback has been atrocious. We need to find a way to have the corner play improve because they have a lot of weapons. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have Mecole Hardman. They have now the newly acquired Kadarius Toney in his first game as a Chief. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of the backfield, Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield. They have Travis Kelce, of course. By the way, we can't forget about him. One of the greatest tight ends we've ever seen. So we need to figure out a way to stop them. But I think the key to winning is to force Mahomes to quick throws. I'm
And
sorry, force Mahomes to make bad throws by pressuring him.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I see that. That I just don't know if there's a way to really stop Mahomes in that offense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Tennessee did a pretty good job, but Tennessee's got a really solid defense. I mean, like you mentioned, we've been struggling, especially the cornerback position on the left side. Mahomes can target that all day probably, and just feast on that position. And they'll probably figure something zone wise out. But I really don't think you can stop them too much. That's where like you can only hope to keep up and maybe hope you have the ball last.
Yep.
So
So you mentioned Mahomes, and he's definitely one of the most frustrating quarterbacks to play against, or just like you don't want to deal with him. Doug Peterson today, this is from me O'Brien, was asked if Mahomes is the most frustrating quarterback to play because of how explosive he can be in the pass or run game. And then he replied, "Yeah, until our next game. We play the Ravens in 2 weeks after." So yeah, back to back tough quarterbacks. Good luck, Jacksonville. Good luck, defense. You guys got your work. You got a workout coming, chasing those two quarterbacks around.
what's
But
funny is after Tennessee lost to Kansas, I was like, all right, let's look at the schedule. Let's see how this division's shaping. I was like, Kansas City, Baltimore,
yeah,
maybe.
so
We still play Tennessee twice, but we have to get ourselves in position in order for those games to matter. But
yeah,
uh,
so
hopefully
from
we win too. But it's gonna be tough.
yeah, so just keep it within one possession. I'm good with it. Like the Jaguars have lost all these games by one possession. I'm okay with it. I just don't want to get blown apart. So
That's a good point you brought up. That's just something that we should mention. That was the win versus Oakland, our first one score victory. So that
of
was good.
of the
Hopefully that
season, yeah. Hmm.
yeah, hopefully develop confidence in close games now and start to transition and winning games. But this game it's just gonna be a bunch of scoring.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah. Take the over. Take the over as of right now. So we'll see. Just one last note, real quick. We're gonna wrap up the show. I do have just a quick ad read for Nerdy Nuts. Don't forget to go on nerdynuts.com. Use the code DIMES10 to get 10% off. They are doing their Thanksgiving / now they're doing birthday cake flavors for their peanut butters. It is a very good product. I've had a bunch of them. I know Keith and Skyler have got a bunch of them as well. They're very good.
We should I was gonna say I was thinking the other day it'd be fun if you, Keith and I each got a tub of nerdy nuts and we raced and see who could eat a tub of nerdy nuts first and record that.
Like in one sitting.
Yeah, yeah, no, like a base maybe we can do a 10-minute timer. See who can eat the most in 10 minutes so we don't get
I
like
was gonna say I don't think we can eat a whole little tub of nerdy nuts in one sitting.
don't
That
challenge me.
oh god, no, I'm not.
I
No, I
might
don't
throw
want to
up
challenge it.
after, but
But yeah, there are definitely other flavors. There's tons of flavors. Like
so good.
there's a new release this past Sunday, butter beer peanut butter treat. So in honor of Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry
So
Potter season. Harry Potter fans are gonna start watching that in bulk because I mean, whether they think of it as a Christmas movie or just a fallish movie, it's that time of the year for Harry Potter.
yep, exactly. So they've got other flavors such as peanut butter, I'm sorry, birthday cake peanut butter cups, blueberry streusel almond butter, if you like almond butter instead of peanut butter. They have butterscotch peanut butter, another new release as well, pumpkin roll. So they've got a bunch of fall flavors. Go check out nerdynuts.com, and then once you are ready to check out, use the code DIMES10 for 10% off your order. We don't have much of a local update due to the fact that we have Hurricane Nicole coming into the area over the next 24 to 48 hours. So just a reminder, stay safe, everyone. Hopefully everyone can make it out with no or limited to no damage from this storm. And I've
If
got
you
nothing.
do, yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to go to a golf tournament next week, at Sea Island, Georgia, they got the RSM Classic. There's going to be a Philip Knowles. I know he's going to be in it. He's actually a former UNF golfer, so just a small local update in terms of golf.
There
If
you
anyone
go.
or UNF golfers at the RSM, there might be more. But I know Philip is going to be up there. He's been in Coastal, so I'm going to try to go up there and try to support him. It'd be cool to walk the ropes next to him. So
There you go. So that's a little bit of a local update in regards to the golf world, and we will come back with you next week on our normal schedule. Just hurricane caused some things, and Keith again is feeling under the weather. Hopefully he feels better by the time we record. And yeah, with that wraps up another edition of Dimes on Duval. Thanks again for listening, everyone, and see you next time. Brian Brzee, defensive line, Clemson.